Wagatha Christie case back in court over this dispute. 1.6 million legal bill. Now, when you bandy around that, I'm like 1.6 million pounds for a legal bill, and this was about somebody staying a night in this, that, and the other. And grade A Stewart's lawyers charged $550 an hour in 2019, which increased to £635 an hour in the new year. Fees for the firm's grade D lawyers went. When you read that, that's why people think there's, I mean, 1.6 million legal bill, and this is just to remind people what happened, was Vardy, Rebekah Vardy unsuccessfully sued Rooney for libel after her rival WAG described a sting in October 2019 to discover who was leaking information from her private Instagram account to The Sun. And over that, just in legal bills, 1.6 million pounds, and Rebekah Vardy has gone back to court, which I'm guessing raises the legal bills again. Is there any case that a lawyer will just say, "Oh, make it stop"? I mean, when you read things like this, what do you think? Bearing in mind we're on live on air.
Okay, well, we'll keep the four-letter jobs out of the way. We'll stick to the res ipsa loquitur and the mens rea. But yeah, 1.6 million sounds like a lot. Trisha, I'm going to say something to you might not expect. I don't think it's a lot at all. What are the brands of those two individuals worth? And this was about the integrity of those individuals, the integrity of that brand, the reputation of somebody like Coleen Rooney. Hasn't she just taken a load of money to go into some jungle or other on television?
Yeah,
isn't that on the front page of some of the tabloids that I didn't read but saw on my way to pay for my petrol today? I actually think that given the scale of that litigation and the type of litigation, defamation, it's probably about the money. I mean, the warning is this. We're coming up, I guess, to Halloween, aren't we, in a couple of weeks? And if I was Hans Christian Kotrie Monson and I was the writer of a kind of allegorical fable for children, I'd say not don't go to the chocolate house. I'd say don't go to the libel courts, because it's an expensive place to do business if you're getting it wrong. Yeah, Vardy here is coming back again. I guess it's hubris. Maybe it's more to do with just trying to salvage some of the reputation that has been so traduced, I have to say, by her behavior and by that of her personal assistant, as far as the judge is concerned, because she was found to probably is the test in libel proceedings, not beyond reasonable doubt, to have conspired to destroy evidence. That mobile phone, do you remember it? Didn't it fall off on an Irish... It dropped into the deep blue sea. Yes. And guess what? You know what? A criminal lawyer will tell you, if you wanted to actually prove that had taken place, you disclose the raw mobile phone data that anyone listening can contact your phone company and say, I don't just want a bill. I'll pay you 20 quid. Give me the mobile phone raw data, which will say where that phone was when the single dropped. Guess what? They weren't too keen to disclose it. Anyway, this is now about cost. Whoa. This is about two claims, essentially, from Vardy. And that's, on the one hand, the actual costs, the 1.8 million or whatever, that it ends up being was greater than the sum they put in the court form. But guess what? The court form, it transpires, the judge has said, actually, I can see that court form's misleading because it talks about recoverable costs and, the definitions weren't that clear. And as a result, it was really just a government form that was incorrect. And the judge has asked for it to be changed. So that's interesting. But the most headline-grabbing thing, and you can see probably that Vardy's team really wanted to enjoy this moment, was hundreds of pounds on hotel minibar drinks. That sounds yeah, doesn't it? And unnecessarily staying not at some local hotel that was reasonably priced, but at the probably fantastic, I've never been there, it's not my deal, Nobu Hotel in London, which I'm sure many of our swanky TalkTV listeners and watchers know all about. But the problem is that actually, rather than it being 600 or 700 quid a night, it was more like 200 or 300 quid a night because they got a special preferential rate, which is kind of tragically, that's about what you pay for a really good 3-star or 4-star hotel these days in central London. So not excessive. And Vardy loses again, and I think compounds the whole thing, you know, just really quite sad. Found to have hidden evidence from a court of England and Wales in the first trial, has a second stab. And, you know, once the protagonist of this trial of the century, she kind of trudges off slowly stage left, and she's just a footballer's wife again.
We've just talked about how the courts are backlogged, how people can't get into court. And then you hear about this and you're thinking, brand or no brand?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, having kids, marrying and having a kids and a footballer, I mean, you know, right, okay. Don't go to university, marry a... Anyway, brand or no brand, the courts are all full up, and guess what's clogging? It's like